Hello and welcome back. So in the first episode of this little game jam live stream, I showed how to create a basic map and create a button that you can interact with. And there's some very bumpy stairs you can run up. I spent about 10 minutes trying to tweak this level because there's some weird lighting artifacts and like the floor isn't connected very well here. And like this thing is going on. And I decided that I really don't like the way that I constructed the level. It's just using the solidify modifier works in certain cases, but I don't like the way I used it here. And so I'm actually just going to completely destroy the structure that I built. I still have my whole trigger system. I still have stairs that I can use, uh, but I hated the walls that I built. So I'm going to open up a new Blender file, and I want to do something like a little bit more Halo-y. I really like this Haven map from Halo 4 or Halo 5, I think it was. I don't really know how to do textures like that without using SurfForge, which is a paid asset that I'm not going to use here. But I think that I like this geometry, so I'm gonna try to steer it in that direction. So I think taking this, I will just start constructing something. So delete everything, Shift A, and I'll start with a cylinder. "16 sides, scale it down on the Z, scale it up. If the player falls off the map, we can make the bottom look kind of cool. Very, very quickly. And I just want to reiterate that I'm not making the textures anything like this. It's not going to look like a Halo map. I just enjoy that geometry. Alright, so we have a basic floating platform. I'm going to reset the position and make it fairly huge. Once again, we have this extremely frustrating scaling issue. Import issue. So RX minus 90, Control A, enter RX 90, save. And we need to make sure that it has a collider. So I'll do that in the import settings, so we don't have to do it every time. Apply. And I'm just going to scale that up. And I want to make sure that the platform is at a height of 0. So I'll just do that in these transform settings. Oh, and I guess it's going to be Y since we rotated it. So set the Y to 0, even though typically in Blender the Z is up and down. Save. And I'm making everything up as I go, so even though I like the way that Halo level looks, it might not end up looking anything like that actually. Control D to duplicate. And I want to make sure that I'm on global. Now we need to create a trigger to activate these stairs. I'm going to open up a separate Blender file, and we're going to make a simple little podium for the button. We had one before, but it looked like crap. And this time I'm actually going to use a reference image. And I'll make something like that, I guess. So tab out of edit mode, X to delete, Shift A to add a cylinder. Scale it down. I want the bottom face to be flush with the floor, so I'm going to grab it and set the Z to 0. Pull this up. And now I want this, essentially I want this to be rotated like that, but I don't want it to stretch weirdly. So I'm going to hit O to enable proportional editing, grab this and scroll in, and then just pull it up like that. Do the reverse on the flip side. And that looks pretty terrible. Maybe that was a bad idea. There we go. That's what I wanted it to do. And now I'm just going to hit Control Tab, select the face, Shift D to duplicate, scale it, whoa. Oh, O to turn off proportional editing, scale down, and E to extrude the button. And we want that to go straight up. Now I'm going to hit Control L and create some different materials. This will be primary, button, and detail. So I'm going to invert my selection, give that the primary color, so we'll assign, invert the selection again, give this the button, and now toward the bottom I'll just create some detail areas. And for that I guess I will start a new object. So Shift D to duplicate, E to extrude, Control L, Control N, flip the normals, and S, Shift Z, so it's only scaling on X and Y, and scale that out. And then I'll take some opposite faces. So I'll take these two, and these two, and scale those out. And I don't want those to scale on the z-axis, so S, Shift-Z, scale out. And now fixing these edges is kind of tricky. We want all of them to scale down with the same amount, but they're all scaling in different directions, right? So we can't simply lock it to an axis. So what I want to do is change my pivot point to individual origins, and now when I scale them, they scale relative to themselves. And let's see. This guy's y direction is the direction I want to scale in. Local, normal. Okay, so I think I want to scale all of them in the y direction, local to themselves. So I'm going to hit Control-Z a few times to get my selection back. And I'm going to hit S, Y, Y. And now you can see they're only scaling in their local y directions. Like that. And I'm just going to hit Control-L and add the detail material. And actually, I think I'm going to, whoops. I'm also going to just scale them in relative to each other as well. So S, Y, Y, scale in like that. Change the pivot point back to median point and scale in. Alright, that looks pretty good. Podium. And now on the Unity side of things, I can just, I have to rotate it again. So RX minus 90, Control A, apply rotation and scale, RX 90, and save. So now it's not sideways anymore. Drop that in the scene. Control as I rotate. Now this should have 3 material slots, and it only has 2. That's because I actually, after I applied this, I hit undo a few times accidentally. So assign the detail again, save. Now it has 3. And let's just create some clean materials. So now I have red, white, and gray. And I'm going to change the transform orientation back to global and pull this down because I think it was a little bit too prominent. Save. And let's give this a more metallic look. Same thing with the white. And I'm just going to drop that on pretty much everything. Now we just have to drop the trigger box back onto this. And that should be in our scene still. Platform, podium. I guess I must have deleted it, so why don't we recreate that? So create a 3D object, cube, reset position, scale up. We're going to hide the mesh renderer. I like to just uncheck it rather than completely deleting it. It takes up a little bit more memory, but it makes it easier to find later on, especially if we put like a solid color on it. So that'll be fine for the trigger box. We're going to add trigger, whatever I named my trigger tooltip, and button behavior or something. I don't remember. Button zone. The button zone activates these stairs. And the tooltip is, I don't remember what I said, press E to activate. Now while we're at it, we can save all of this to a prefab. So I'm actually going to put this on the podium to get the position. Drop it, take it off the podium, and call this button grouping stairs 1. Put the podium on that, put the stairs on that, and now we'll save that as a prefab. Oops. Alright, so let's make sure this works. So I step into it. Oh, it's not letting me because first of all, I feel like that box was too small. And this also needs to be in the prefab. So why don't we scale that up a little bit? And now I need to set this to trigger. Apply the change to the prefab. Press E to activate. Beautiful. And once again, these stairs are incredibly bumpy. So now that this works, we need to make sure we apply this to the prefab. And now anytime we want stairs, we can simply drop this into the scene. Like that. And the beauty of this method is we're not actually importing any sort of animation from Blender. So I can completely like redo this whenever I want within Unity and reposition things. So now let's say we just want this as our animation. Something like that. Hit play. E to extrude. And all of a sudden we have platforms where we want them. Very easy and very straightforward. And now if I want to get rid of that whole grouping, I can just delete it. And all the pieces are separate, so if I want to just move the podium, like obviously I just grab that and move it. Oh, and I might as well attach the box to the podium. So now I have my cube, which is my trigger zone. And once more, I'm going to scale that way up. Save. And the tooltip and the actual button are kept on the same cube, so that's good. So as soon as the message displays, he's within range to hit the button. And I'm going to put that on the podium. So now as we move the podium around, let's just apply this to the prefab again. As we move the podium around, the trigger zone moves with it. I suppose we also want this button to depress, so I'm going to separate the selection by hitting P, save this one more time, and for some reason the button actually disappeared, which is kind of annoying. Cancel, take the trigger off the podium, delete the podium, and find it again. After we attach my colors, red, white, gray, and now you can see that there's two separate objects here. Drop the trigger zone onto the podium and set the position to 0, 0, 0, and apply. So now we just want to make the button shrink down slightly when the user hits the button. So I want to do that in the, I guess that's the responsibility of the trigger zone. And we'll put that in the button zone script. So let's get a reference to the public button game object. And when they hit the button, button.transform.position, we can just say translate. Button.transform.translate moves in the direction and distance of translation. v3.down times 0.2f. And that might be too far, but now all we have to do is grab this actual button, which is here, button mesh, and give that as a reference to the button zone. And let's see what happens when we go down by 0.2. Too far, 0.1, 0.05, 0.02. Alright, so I think I'm going to actually just move it up slightly to like a 0.01, and then we'll take off 0.3 from that. 0.03. Alright, so now apply this to the prefab. Now when I hit the button, it should go down, but it went down too far. That's surprising, actually. So I want this to be not in full screen view anymore, so I'm actually just going to detach this. And I'm going to click on the button. So right now it's at 0.01. And now I'm clicking on it with my character. It went from 0.01 to minus 0.14. Minus 0.14. Did I mean to set this to 0.1? Maybe that's what I was trying to do. Seems like it's just going down too far. Oh, and that's because it's happening for multiple frames. I was like, is this a glitch in Unity? What's happening right now? But as always, it's my own error. So right now it's at 0.01 above the podium. And this happens multiple times. So triggered equals false. Once we trigger it, triggered equals true. And we're only going to call this if they hit the button and we haven't been triggered before. Oops. Alright, so that worked. And now we can change this to whatever it was before, like 0.03. Sometimes those little bugs are just so hard to find. Yeah, that worked out. And while I'm at it, I think I will actually change the color on the button. So I'll change this to like a light blue. Something like that. And now we're going to force the button to take that material. Alright, so I want to apply the... Oh, okay, yeah, so that'll work. I think this will work. Material equals light blue. I've only tried assigning materials through code a few times before, so I don't actually remember how to do it. Oh, it worked. Great. And Control P for pause. Whoops. That's better. And I guess it's more of a green now. And I'm going to rename this to activated color. And we lost our reference. And these stairs are way too bumpy, so why don't we first work on that. I'm going to find the mesh, double click it, and I think this is the forward direction, so let's just take these and pull this down, save as, bridge, slanted. Now I'm going to take all of these, and I want to actually rename the mesh here. Save. Bridge slanted, and then you can see the actual colliders are still squarish. So we need to drop this onto the mesh collider. And if I liked the way this looked better, I could just drop slanted onto the collider. So we can try both ways. So now he runs up it smoothly. That worked out really well. And now we can try the way we can see how it looks with slanted stairs. And I think I like the actual, I think I actually like the angled stairs better. I mean the hard angles better. All right, making progress. And just for the sake of having the prefab, I will do a second set of stairs with the angle. Arch prototype, angle, button grouping stairs, angular. Save the prefab. All right. Hello, I'm back. So I just took a 10-minute break to eat some pizza pockets. I think I left off making the prefabs for the stairs. After that I went ahead and deleted the second level. So yeah, I think that now I'm just going to go back into Blender, close these out, and I'm just going to start a new scene because I'm really not satisfied at all with the direction everything was taking. So I just want to kind of have fun with this and see where it goes. So I'm going to scale this up on the z-axis, and now I'm going to rotate this on the y-axis to about there. Now shift, actually, yeah, I'm going to hit Shift A and create a cube. Scale this one down. And this is going to be like a support pillar for my structure. And why don't we just make it about that thick. I'm going to create some wing loops and then take the inside face and pull this in. Same thing on this side. Alright, so that's the support beam, and now I'm just going to line this up with my main structure. Now, if I want to scale this this way, I think that I can just say S, go into local. So this is the local Z direction. Now I'm going to hit S, Z, Z to get the local scale. So I'm probably going to be using that trick quite a bit coming up. I think this is going to look really cool when I'm done. And I think that it's angled a little bit too steeply. So I'm going to take both of these and rotate them back around the y-axis. That looks better. Pull this out to here. Alright, now I'm deleting that. Actually, I'll keep that in as a reference, but I'm not going to use it. So that's just my reference cube. Now I want to take these and move them up. and over. And now I'm going to add array modifiers. And I want them to go in the y direction with a constant offset. And why don't we give this a count of 8. Array 8 offset. Let's do 25. Alright, so now I have all these support beams. And to modify all of them, I'd only have to modify one. And actually, rather than using 2 array modifiers, I can actually just accomplish this with 1, I think. Oh, maybe not. Undo that. Go into wireframe view and vertex. Take these and G, Z, Z. Same thing on this side. Edit mode. Whoops. B for box select. G, Z, Z. Roughly line it up with the floor. Now I'm going to take all of these faces and scale them S, Z0. Flatten it out. Same thing with this one. SZ0 and Z0. Well, that's strange. Is it Y? Alright, so I want the Y to be 0. 0. Alright, so this is the basic structure for the room. Now I'm going to add some ramps going across horizontally. And first I'll do the floor. So Shift A, cube, S, Z, pull that down. Alright, so I need these to be a lot taller. So I'm going to tab into edit mode, grab these faces, and for that I'll just hit C to go into paint select and middle click to deselect. Now I'm going to hit G, Z, Z, and pull this up. And now I want to create a roof. So I'm going to take this one, Shift D, pull it over, RY 90. And that lines up pretty well with the cube. So just pull this in. And now for this, I'm going to do 4 and with a offset of like 45. I want to make these bigger. S, X, X, S, Y, Y. And so this will be the main roof support. R, Y, 180. S, Z, Z. Now for the roof, I'm just going to take one of these faces, Shift E to duplicate. I want to separate this from the rest. So separate selection, and then I can delete the array modifier from this object. Tab into edit mode, S, Y, Y. And now that's only a one-sided face. If I turn on back face culling, we actually wouldn't see anything because the outward face is here. So I'm just going to extrude this, and that should give us 2 sides to this. So already I think this is much more interesting than what we had before, but it's not nearly polished enough yet. So I'm going to save this as interior 1. And I want to just take everything and scale it way up. And when I do that, I want to make sure that I'm scaling by median point and global. Apply, rotation and scale, save. And you'll notice the shading on the ground is now messed up. So I'm going to select everything and Control N, save this one more time. And that should be in this folder. And I actually wanted it to face the exact opposite direction, so I'm going to hit R, everything selected, R, Z, 180. Control A, apply rotation and scale. Why did that happen? Save. There we go. And by default, the canvas tooltip can be disabled. We might as well make this a prefab. I like having everything stored in prefabs so that if the scene gets corrupted somehow, you don't lose everything. There's just backup copies. We need to make this import with colliders. Nice. This looks awesome. Really happy with the way this is turning out. All right, and now we made a little pit for the stairs. So the lowest they should go is -4. So in my bridge, animated scenery, rest height, -4. Save. Apply that to the prefab. And another benefit of this system is now I can just take all of these stairs, duplicate them. If I had animated this in Blender, we would have to completely redo the animation. 1, 2. But now we can make stairs with any height we want. In just a few seconds. Alright, so I think this is coming along pretty well. Scale this down. Nice, that was awesome. I just love how flexible this system is. I think I'm also going to make the stairs sort of like come into their rotation gradually. They should start out flat. So animated scenery, in the same way we save start position, we will also save start rotation. Private, quaternion, start rotation. So we save the rotation when they start. Now, do we want to update the rotation as they move, or do we want to wait till the position is correct? Like, do I want to do the rotation very last, or do I want to do it as they move over time from the very start? I think it would look a little bit more interesting if it was last, but just to try it out, why don't we just do it really quickly, the easy way. So transform.rotation equals quaternion dot rotate towards and once again we'll just use move speed. And that for some reason did not work. Oh, I also have to do this thing. Quaternion rest rotation equals start rotation and why don't I just set this up in the inspector? Quaternion rest rotation So we're going to save whatever position they start in, and then we're going to snap to the rest rotation. When the user hits the button, we're going to quickly interpolate to the desired rotation. Alright, so it starts off flat on the ground, and very quickly freaks out. Weird. That's not what I expected, but I like it. So somehow the text was destroyed. What the hell? Tooltip text.gameObject.setActive true. The object of type text has been destroyed. I don't know how that happened. So that's not what I wanted this to do, and I'm not totally comfortable with rotations, so I don't know what the problem is. Transform.rotation. So we're rotating toward the initial rotation by, oh wait. Well, I figured it out. Oh wait, did I? Oh no, I guess that's not it. Move speed. Huh. So I guess quaternions aren't like vectors where they just have like a final position. I thought that it would just rotate toward its initial position, and then once it gets there, it just stops rotating. But it seems like it's just going to keep rotating forever. So I'm just going to look it up. Unity rotate to position. It says the rotation will not overshoot. So it should just end up where I want it to. So why don't we just set this to move speed? It's just going to happen really, really fast. And let's just make sure it ends up in the right final position. and almost instantly it did. Alright, so let's make it go 5 times faster than the move speed. That was kind of a cool effect, actually. I'm actually just going to comment that out for now. I might come back and try something like this later. But, whoops, something froze. As a quick workaround, I'm just going to delete that little ramp that I had here and just use some actual stairs instead. Duplicate, rotate, gosh darn it. And when I use these stairs, I need to make sure that the colliders are actually facing the right direction. Because if I had this stair flipped around, you can see this collider here, that would make his step very jumpy. But as long as I'm careful, everything should just work out perfectly. Alright. Hit the button. The stairs rise up out of the ground. And they have the wrong rotation. And I'm just going to comment out everything involving rotation. Or just whatever. I'm deleting everything with rotation. Alright, let's try this one more time. Beautiful. Alright, so where do I want to go from here? Why don't I go back to Blender? Oh, and actually, I'm right at about an hour, so I'm just going to cut this video off here. I'm going to take a 15-minute break, and then I'll come back and keep working on this. So this should be in a playlist, so just click on the next video. See you guys later.